My 26M, girlfriend 25F, thinks I slept with her sister 22F. I was drunk and I'm not even sure if I did or didn't. These past few weeks I've been staying at my girlfriend's house. She lives in the same house as her family, but her parents own another house which they usually live in another city, and that's where they are now. So it's just her and her little sister there. Because I like to spend the nights with my girlfriend, I spent most nights at her house in her bedroom and switched between that and my apartment. We like being together, and my apartment is small and dingy, so that's why it's usually at her place. We kind of had a fight a couple weeks ago. She went out to a party with her friends and said she wouldn't be that long. I stayed up all night waiting for her, but she didn't come back till next morning. Of course, I was really upset and I shouldn't have assumed the worst, but I did, and we got into a fight. The same thing happened last night. She promised this time she'd just be a few hours. I know the party she goes to have boys and girls there. I stayed up all night watching shit on TV. Waiting for her, I started drinking. One glass of whiskey after another, just out of boredom, waiting for her to come back. My mind was circling around thinking where she could be, why she could be taking so long. I feared she'd not come back till the next morning. Now this part is really fuzzy because I was drunk as fuck by this point, and I could barely walk. I decided to call it quits, and I staggered up to her bedroom to go to sleep. I usually sleep in my underwear, so I got down to my underwear, and I was surprised to find she was in bed, or at least I thought it was her. Normally, I would have questioned what was going on, but in my drunken state, I must have just assumed she got back early and went to bed without me realizing. I remember muttering to her, "I'm sorry I got so mad at you, honey," and kissing her neck, and then cuddling her and going to sleep. I have no idea if anything else happened. I don't know if sex happened. I wish I could say it didn't, but I have no memory of the event. The next morning, I had a painful as fuck headache. I remember waking up to my girlfriend's screams as she walked into the room in the morning. What the fuck is going on? I was still dreary and unaware of my surroundings. As I came to, I realized I was lying in bed with her sister. We were both in our underwear cuddling, and her sister was facing me directly. Obviously, it looked bad. My girlfriend was raging. I tried to explain, but the scene itself was incriminating enough. She told me to get out of the house, and she kicked her sister out as well. I have no idea where she went. I was in such an awful state, and my headache was so bad, I barely had any idea what was going on. Painfully, I went back to my home where I've been all day. I've been trying to call my girlfriend. I have not been able to reach her. She's not been responding to any calls. I tried to call her sister once as well to find out what the fuck happened, but no response. I honestly have no idea what happened. Did I cheat? Did I have sex with her? How does that even happen? I know for certain I kissed her neck, but I thought it was her. I didn't know it was her sister. Why the hell would she be in her bed? Why didn't she say or do anything? Why was she cuddling me in the morning? What can I do? How can I find out what happened or at least convince my girlfriend that I didn't cheat, even though I don't even know if I did or didn't? TLDR, was very drunk, crawled into bed with girlfriend's sister thinking it was her. Girlfriend saw us in mourning, freaked out, and thought we were cheating, threw me out of the house. Hasn't been responding to my calls since. What should I do? Relevant comments. Commenter, no matter how much explaining you do, she'll never get over this. Time to just move on and learn how to drink responsibly. You're telling me. I don't even normally drink that much. I guess I was just feeling abnormally depressed and I was trying to soothe my worries and fears. I don't know if I have an alcohol problem, but I would be happy to go to AA or any form of rehab if that helps. Edit, what the fudge is up with the downvotes? Update, 8 days later. Okay, it's taken me almost a week to muster up enough energy to write an update. I wasn't going to honestly, I didn't see the point. Things have been miserable and my life has been falling apart, but I'm slowly picking the pieces back up. A warning to everyone reading this. This story contains grape. Yes, grape. I am slowly accepting and living with the fact that I am now a victim of grape. I tried writing this, but it was too confusing, so now I'm re-editing it. I'm going to use girlfriend and girlfriend sister in all cases to refer to those people to avoid confusion. When I made the last post, I had lost contact with my girlfriend and she was not responding to my calls. I eventually did manage to reach through to girlfriend's sister. She was really upset. She said her sister, girlfriend, had thrown her out of the house, was threatening her, and not even accepting to talk to her. I talked to girlfriend's sister. I told her she has to tell me exactly what happened, and that it was very important because girlfriend was in danger. She was extremely upset, acting rashly, and could possibly hurt herself. Girlfriend's sister told me she will tell me the whole story, but she made me swear that I wouldn't tell girlfriend. I lied and said yes. From her story, it sounds like she intentionally took advantage of me, knew I was drunk and thought she was her sister, and used it as an opportunity to have sex with me. Apparently, we did have sex. After she told me that, some of the memories started faintly coming back to me, and I think I do very, very slightly remember we had sex now. What's worse is she said there was no protection and she was scared of pregnancy. She had a test later. She's not pregnant. I managed to eventually reach through to my girlfriend. I told her the entire story, as I've said it here and in the last post, plus more detailed of course. I told her everything girlfriend's sister had told me. Girlfriend was disgusted this had happened and completely shocked, but she believed me, and she was very apologetic for accusing me of cheating. She told me that I had been raped, and it's not something I can just brush off. I told her I didn't feel traumatized or anything by it, but agreed that what happened was rape. Girlfriend became even more furious at girlfriend's sister for raping her boyfriend. She told her to get out of the house, and she hasn't been back in the house since. Girlfriend has swore that she will never ever talk to her again, and from her fury, it sounds like she will live up to it. She hasn't spoken to her since. We've talked about what happened extensively, and I won't go into the details here, but she has been extremely supportive of me because I was taken advantage of and raped. She suggested I go to counseling services or something, but I insisted I don't need them. The whole situation was extremely strange and horrific. It feels weird to be a victim of rape. I don't feel much different. I don't feel traumatized. But I am still aware this thing happened to me where I had control of my body wrested from me. It's a strange feeling. TLDR, it turned out girlfriend's sister did in fact rape me and take advantage of me when I was drunk. I told girlfriend about this, and she apologized for how badly she had treated me. She threw her sister out of her house and is on no speaking terms with her, saying she will never talk to her again. Relevant comments. Commenter. The same girlfriend who is going out to parties, saying she'll be home and not showing up until the next morning? Handling one situation well does not make a person awesome. Oop. Well, we talk about that. She won't go to parties anymore, and I will stop drinking. STPRY2. Girlfriend, 21 female, is furious at me, 21 male, after my grandmother spoke badly and derogatorily about her in Spanish right in front of her. I've been dating this girl. We'll call her Olivia for 4 months. She is of Jamaican descent, but born in the U.S. I was born in Cuba, but came to the States when I was 1. I would say I'm very, very Americanized, though I grew up speaking Spanish at home. The area we currently live in doesn't have many Latino people, so it's not assumed that people understand Spanish. When I started dating her, I asked her if she could speak Spanish, and she said not really, and that her Spanish sucked, and we didn't really address it further. I was really eager to introduce her to my family, as I thought my mom and dad would love her, and they had been asking about her for a while. So I invited them to our house for dinner with my mom, my dad, my grandmother, and my teenage brother. My abuela can't speak English much at all, but everyone else can. My abuela can be very judgmental and cranky and basically an asshole at times, especially since her husband died, and then she had a stroke 3 years ago. I told her before to be nice. However, I also told them she couldn't speak Spanish, because that's what I assumed. So Olivia came over and everything was going good for most part. She got along well with my family, and my mom especially was super nice to her. However, my grandmother decided she was in a nasty mood and started talking shit about her. She said that she didn't expect Olivia to be so dark, and how she looked more African. She asked if she came from a good family, and said if my grandfather was alive, he would not approve of her, and it's better to date a girl who can speak Spanish since, and most black people won't even bother to learn it. She even said that my last girlfriend was much prettier than her. This is honestly blatantly untrue. Olivia is gorgeous, and most people say so. She made sure not to make it obvious she was talking about her, and didn't gesture to her at all, and mostly faced the TV when she spoke. I was mortified and couldn't believe she was saying all this. I told her to stop twice, but since I assumed Olivia didn't understand her, I mostly brushed it off and tried to ignore her since I didn't want to make a scene, and I didn't want to make it apparent to Olivia that she was talking about her. Olivia is the biggest sweetheart but is really insecure and has suffered from anxiety in the past. And I just didn't want to make it worse. My mom told her to be quiet as well, but my grandmother just did not give a fuck and continues with snide comments. To make things worse, my dad and brother just laughed at the absurdity of the situation. I don't think they really found it funny, but it was more of a there she goes again, crazy Abula type thing. Olivia acted pleasant for most of the night, but then suddenly claimed she had migraines and she needed to leave. She thanked them all but left in a hurry. I already suspected she could understood some of what was said, and I felt terrible. After she left, I told off my grandmother for how she acted. I tried calling Olivia that night, but she ignored my calls until the next evening when she finally answered. I asked if she was okay, and she admitted that she took Spanish for 5 years, and although she has no confidence to speak it, her Spanish comprehension is fairly good. I apologized profusely, but she was angry. She was mad since I didn't tell her I had a racist family. She was mad that my dad and brother laughed at her expense, and was furious that I didn't defend her or stand up to my grandmother. I tried to explain the whole, not wanting to cause a scene thing, but she didn't buy it at all. She said she felt like an idiot because her friend told her a lot of Cubans are racist, and she defended me so much and accused her friend of being a bigoted jerk, and how much I embarrassed her, and made her feel like crap. So I just don't know what to do to fix this. She is furious at me and I understand why, but I was really serious with her, and in love with her. We work so well together. I don't want to lose her over this. I feel like she thinks my whole family are racist assholes as well, when it's definitely not the case. My abuela sucks, but my family has no choice but to put up with her. My mom and dad do not have a racist bone in their body, and my brother isn't either. I agree my dad and father were shitty for laughing at my grandmother's rants, but they didn't know what else to do, and were more laughing at how obnoxious she was being. Is there any way I can possibly come back from this? Anyone have similar experiences? I just don't know what to do to make it up to her. She really is angry, and I feel like I hurt her a lot. TLDR, invited my black girlfriend to my family's home. My grandmother was an asshole and said racist comments about her in Spanish, thinking that she couldn't understand. I didn't say much to defend her because I didn't want to cause a scene, and I also assumed she couldn't understand. Turns out she did and is now furious at me. I'm not sure what to do. Relevant comments. Commenter. Being unable to speak a language isn't the same as being able to understand it. I can't speak French, but I understand it quite well. You absolutely should have stood up for her. It isn't okay for someone, I don't care how old they are or how long ago they lost a spouse, to speak like that about someone. If I were your GF, I would be mortified and upset also. As far as what you can do, apologize and tell her you're sorry that these things were said. You didn't want to create a scene and truly didn't know she understood Spanish so well, which is why you didn't get more upset in the moment, and we're going to address it afterwards with your family. Yeah, that was my fault. We honestly did not talk much about her Spanish speaking skills. I just assumed she couldn't understand it either because she never mentioned she could, and she said her Spanish sucked. We don't live in a heavily Hispanic area, so it's not like we're surrounded by people speaking Spanish, and even the schools offer multiple languages other than Spanish. I feel like a moron. Update, 2 weeks later. People gave me a really hard time in my original post, and it really made me realize how much of a dumbass I was being. I apologized profusely to Olivia and called out my extremely stupid behavior, and basically begged for forgiveness. After a couple more days of being mad at me, she was willing to talk to my parents and my brother, who apologized and told her that they really loved her and that they didn't mean to hurt her. They tried to explain the situation with my grandmother and why she behaved the way she did, and they were just trying to minimize drama, but that what she was saying was wrong, and they should have stood up to her. My mother got her a gift set from Bath & Body Works, costume jewelry, and chocolate to go along with the apology. So Olivia did forgive me and my family, which I am so relieved about because I really am crazy about this girl. I'm definitely not going to take this for granted. A week ago, my brother, Olivia, and I went to an amusement park, and my brother and her actually got along really well, and she's definitely convinced he doesn't secretly hate black people. I never thought my brother was racist. When he was in middle school, he dated a black girl. He's only 15, so I definitely don't blame him for what happened. It was my dad's fault for laughing. But yeah, he really likes her, and is glad she doesn't hate him. My mom invited Olivia to a beach with our family on Saturday. My abuela stayed at home, and although she mostly stayed by me and my brother, she seemed to get along reasonably with my parents and seems to believe their apology. She was a bit hesitant to go. I have told my grandmother that if she wants me to be actively part of her life, she must apologize to Olivia. My grandmother actually agreed to apologize, but my GF doesn't want to talk to her, and I told her I will not force her to be around her, but I did tell her that my grandmother is sorry for the way she behaved. So yeah, that's my update. I appreciate all the replies no matter how harsh. It really made me realize my stupidity. Still have a lot of growing up to do, but I am really happy she took me back. TLDR, Olivia forgave me after my parents and I apologized, and we are still together. She still understandably doesn't want to talk to my grandmother though. Story 3. Someone stole from me, 24 female. How do I deal with the suspects? Brother, 27 male. Best friend, 24 male. GF, 23 female. Housemate, 28 male. And housemate's GF, 21 female. My grandfather recently passed away, and he left me and my brother a watch and tin of cash each. We received about £750 each, and the watches are purely sentimental value. I was given the tin with the money on the Saturday afternoon and was too busy to go to the bank to deposit it, and banks are closed Sunday. Between Saturday afternoon, 14th, and Monday morning, 16th, the cash and the tin were stolen. The tin was put in my bottom drawer on Saturday afternoon and was not there Monday morning. The issue is that there were a large number of people who had the opportunity to take that money, and I don't know who did it. Seeing as I don't want to drag everybody onto the Jeremy Kyle show, I'm turning to Reddit for suggestions. How do I figure out who took this money? If I have to go to the police, I will, but I would really rather not, seeing as I have no evidence. The suspects are as follows. My brother, Michael, 27. He was at my house on the Saturday afternoon, as we'd both received our inheritances. We hung out for a bit talking about my granddad. He only had 5 minutes in my bedroom alone, but I can't remember if I saw the tin after he left. I was more interested in the watch, and it had been a long day. I don't think it'd be him because he got his own money, but he does need money a lot more than me, as his girlfriend is pregnant. My best friend, Daniel, 24. He came over Sunday and had plenty of opportunity throughout the day. I told him about the money, but didn't tell him it was in my room. Daniel is wealthy as hell, and my 750 pounds would be petty cash to him. I can't see why he would steal from me, but he would have had the best opportunity. My girlfriend, Carrie, 23. She stayed over Saturday night and was super quick to leave Sunday morning. She's been acting a bit off at the moment, but she doesn't really get on with my housemate. I don't think she'd steal from me. I wouldn't be with her if I did. But we've only been seeing each other for a couple of months. My housemate, Kane, 28. He wasn't in the house until Sunday evening, and his girlfriend was with him, and they both vouch for each other. Kane's a bit weird and has poor boundaries, especially with Carrie, but he's generally pretty honest. If I didn't think he was a safe person to be around, I wouldn't be living with him. Kane's girlfriend, Alessa, 21. I think it's her. I don't know her at all, but she really dislikes me and Carrie. But Kane swears up and down that he and Alessa were in each other's sight the whole time, and that she isn't a thief. Alessa is also super bad with money, so if she had an extra 750-pound lying around, she would have had her nails done and new clothing and things to show for it, which makes me think she might not have stolen it. Also, I have no idea how she would have known about the money or found it. I've spoken to each of the suspects. Michael and Daniel are outraged on my behalf, but have distanced themselves. Carrie is super worried that I think it was her, and is pointing the finger at Kane and Alessa. Kane seems really confused by everything and won't comment, and Alessa has accused everybody except herself and Kane. She's even suggested that there was no money, and I'm trying to cause drama. Since that Monday, it's been awful. Carrie doesn't want to see me, Daniel has been avoiding me, and Alessa has been really in my face and passive-aggressive about accusing her. Michael told me that it hurt him really badly to be accused of stealing from me. Are there any ideas or suggestions on how to figure this out before I get the police involved? And is there any point in involving the police? TLDR. Someone stole 750 pounds. Is there a way to figure out who without going to the police? Would the police even be much use in this scenario? Relevant comments. Commenter. So who on the list actually knew where you had the money hidden? I'm not 100% sure. Michael was there when I put the money away. Carrie knows that's where I stash things for safekeeping, just in general. Daniel also knows my habit of using bottom drawers as a kind of deal with this later drawer, since we've been friends forever. I don't think Kane knows. He knew I had inherited some money from my granddad, because me and Carrie were talking about my plans for the money, but he didn't know where it was. Alessa wouldn't know, unless Kane told her. So Michael, Carrie, and Daniel definitely knew. Kane might. Alessa most likely didn't. Commenter. So your main suspects are Alessa and Carrie. Wait until you are alone with Alessa/Kane and tell them that you decided to give whoever it was a chance at redemption. If you find 750 anonymously sent to your account within 2 weeks, you will consider everyone innocent and not notify the police. Then, wait until you are alone with Carrie. Tell her you decided to give whoever it was a chance at redemption. If you find 750 in a plain envelope in your mail within 2 weeks, you will consider everyone innocent and not notify the police. Commenter. Oh, this is some Game of Thrones shit, I love it. Update, 4 days later. First off, thank you for the suggestions. I went with the idea you/Lampshade00 offered. I took each person aside and told them that I was going to go to the police if the money wasn't returned. I told each person to put the money in a different spot. About 100 pounds was returned to the spot I told Kane to use. Kane took me aside and asked me not to be too harsh on Alessa, as she is only young. I played along and agreed. Later, I sent Alessa a text and asked her if she knew that Kane was pinning the theft on her. She hit the roof. She came to the house and flipped out at Kane. Apparently, he told her that he'd seen Carrie taking it and that everybody else was ganging up and blaming her. Kane apparently enjoys being the puppet master. I could fill a book with the lies he's been telling the lot of us. His cloud cuckoo lander behavior is more or less an act. The money was just sitting in his sock drawer. Alessa tore his room apart until she found the money, which she gave back to me. Kane just likes to see people fight. I'm moving out of Kane's place and in with Daniel. Alessa has dumped Kane. I have my money back. Daniel was never that fazed, so he's forgiven me. Michael is hurt, and Carrie is just relieved that I didn't really think it was her. Probably going to spend this money on fun stuff to do with Daniel, Carrie, and Michael to smooth over the justifiably hurt feelings incurred. TLDR, Kane stole the money to mess with people. I've got my money back. Thanks again.